A body lies alone by the water, eyes wide with fear. A town whispers in shadows. Secrets that were meant to stay buried are stirring. Someone is watching. Someone knows. And the truth is coming for them. Who will survive when the diary speaks again? A cold rain was falling over Brookhollow the night everything began. The wind moved softly through the trees, and the town felt unusually quiet, as if something was waiting to be discovered. Inside a modest two-story house at the edge of town, 17-year-old Emma Carter climbed slowly up the narrow attic stairs, holding a flashlight that flickered with every step. She was only there to help her parents clean. None of them expected to find anything unusual. The attic smelled of old wood and dust. Boxes filled with forgotten belongings were stacked in every corner. Emma carefully moved aside a pile of blankets, brushing years of dust from her hands. As she reached deeper into the shadows, her flashlight caught something strange, a small wooden chest tucked away behind an old suitcase. It looked like it had been hidden on purpose. Curious, Emma pulled it forward. The chest was heavier than she expected. Its surface was scratched and worn, as if it had been opened and closed many times. Slowly, she lifted the lid. Inside, there was only one thing: an old diary. Its cover was cracked, and the pages inside had turned yellow with age. Emma felt a strange chill as she picked it up. Something about it felt personal, almost important. She sat down on the attic floor and opened it. At first, the writing seemed normal. It spoke about daily life, small worries, and quiet thoughts. The words belonged to someone who once lived in this house. But as Emma turned the pages, the tone began to change. The sentences grew darker. The writer sounded afraid. Then Emma noticed something that made her stop breathing for a moment. At the top of one page was a date. Tomorrow's date. Her heart began to beat faster as she read the single line written beneath it. A man will be found dead near the lake. No one will know who did it. Emma stared at the page, confused. The diary was clearly old. The ink had faded, and the paper felt fragile. This wasn't something written recently. It had been there for years, maybe decades. So how could it mention tomorrow? A strange uneasiness filled the room. Emma quickly closed the diary and placed it back inside the chest. She told herself it was just a coincidence, maybe something written as a story by the person who once owned it. But that night, sleep didn't come easily, and by morning, the peaceful town of Brookhollow woke up to shocking news. A man had been found dead near the lake. The news spread through Brookhaven like a shockwave. Early that morning, police cars surrounded the lake, their flashing lights cutting through the thick fog. A body had been found near the water. People whispered in low voices, gathering in small groups, trying to understand how something so violent could happen in a town so quiet. Emma stood near the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't need to hear the details. She already knew what they would say. A man, dead, found near the lake. The same words she had read in the diary the night before. Her hands felt cold as she rushed back home, her mind spinning with questions. She climbed the attic stairs again, faster this time, her breath uneven. The chest was still there. The diary was still inside. With shaking fingers, she opened it and turned to the page. The date was still tomorrow's date.
The sentence hadn't changed, but now it didn't feel like a strange coincidence. It felt real, too real. Fear slowly replaced her curiosity. Emma turned to the next page, unsure if she even wanted to keep reading. The paper made a soft sound as she flipped it over. There was another entry waiting for her. This one had a date written 3 days later. Beneath it, in the same careful handwriting, was another message. Someone close to the truth will disappear. Emma felt a deep sense of dread settle inside her. Close to the truth. What did that mean? And who was it talking about? She needed to tell someone. That afternoon, she called her best friend Lucas and showed him the diary. At first, he didn't take it seriously. He smiled, thinking it was just an old notebook filled with stories. But as Emma explained what had happened by the lake that morning, his expression slowly changed. He looked down at the page again, reading the line carefully. 3 days passed. The town was still shaken by the murder, and the police were working day and night to find answers. Then, just as the diary had warned, something else happened. Officer Ryan Cole, one of the lead investigators on the case, suddenly vanished. His car was discovered on the side of a lonely road outside town. The door was open. His phone was still inside, but there was no sign of him anywhere. The air in Brookhollow grew heavier with fear. People locked their doors earlier. Conversations stopped when strangers walked by. Emma sat in her room that night, staring at the diary in her lap. It had predicted 2 terrible events, and both had come true. Her eyes slowly moved to the next blank page. She hesitated before turning it. What else was this diary waiting to reveal?
Emma didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the same 2 lines from the diary repeating in her mind. A man dead near the lake. Someone close to the truth will disappear. Both had already happened. It no longer felt like an old journal filled with strange guesses. It felt like a warning. By morning, the fear had grown too strong to ignore. Emma needed answers, and she needed them fast. She carried the diary downstairs and found her mother in the kitchen. Without saying a word, she placed the worn book on the table. The moment her mother saw the cover, her expression changed. The color drained from her face, and her hand froze in the air. For a few seconds, she didn't speak. Then, in a quiet voice, she asked, "Where did you find this?" Emma replied, "In the attic. It was hidden in a chest." Her mother slowly pulled out a chair and sat down, staring at the diary like it was something she had hoped never to see again. She reached out and gently touched the cover as if she already knew what it was. "This belonged to a girl named Sarah Mitchell," she said. Emma leaned closer. "Who is she?" Her mother took a deep breath before answering. "She used to live here, a long time ago, before we moved in." Emma felt a strange tension build in the room. "What happened to her?" she asked softly. Her mother's eyes filled with discomfort. She disappeared. One night she was just gone. No one ever found her. A cold silence followed those words. Emma looked back down at the diary, her mind racing. Did anyone ever find out what happened? Her mother shook her head slowly. No, but people talked. They said she was different, quiet, always writing in that diary, and sometimes she would write things that made no sense, things that sounded like they were going to happen.
Emma's heart began to pound harder. That afternoon, Emma and Lucas searched for any information they could find about Sarah Mitchell. Old newspaper articles, faded photographs, and short reports filled the screen. Sarah had vanished 22 years ago at the age of 19. There were no suspects, no clues, just silence. But one detail made Emma stop scrolling. In one article, there was a familiar name mentioned: Daniel Reeves, the same man who had been found dead near the lake. Emma slowly looked up at Lucas, her voice barely above a whisper. Why was he connected to her?
Emma couldn't stop thinking about Daniel Reeves. Something about his connection to Sarah Mitchell felt wrong, like a hidden thread linking the past to the horrors of the present. She sat in her room, the diary open in her lap, staring at the pages as if they might whisper the answers themselves. The rain outside tapped steadily against the window, echoing the nervous rhythm of her heartbeat. She read the diary again, slowly this time, absorbing every word. The handwriting became more urgent, jagged in places, as if the writer had been afraid while writing. Then Emma noticed something she hadn't seen before, a series of vague but unmistakable descriptions of people. Sarah had never used full names, but she had described them clearly, what they looked like, where they worked, small habits that made them recognizable. One description made Emma's blood run cold. The initials matched Daniel Reeves. Her hands shook as she read over the lines again. Daniel wasn't a random victim. He was connected to Sarah's disappearance. The realization hit her with terrifying clarity. Everything that had happened, the death at the lake, Officer Cole's disappearance, wasn't random. It was part of something much larger. Emma felt a wave of panic. How could a diary predict events so precisely? She flipped through the remaining pages, and the writing became chaotic, rushed, almost frantic. It was clear now that Sarah had been desperate, documenting events as they happened, as if trying to leave a trail for someone in the future. Then she reached the last entries. The sentences were fragmented, but the meaning was chilling. Sarah wrote about a group of people who had harmed her, people she feared, people who thought they could escape justice. One line was scrawled so quickly it was almost illegible. They think I won't tell anyone. They think I'll stay quiet. If something happens to me, it was them. Emma's eyes widened as she realized the diary wasn't just a journal. It was a record of crimes, and Sarah had left it behind, hidden, waiting for someone to uncover the truth. Her hands trembled as she turned the final page. There, written clearly, was a prediction for the very next day. The last one will pay. The girl who finds this will understand. Emma froze. The words felt like they were speaking directly to her. Her mind raced. Was the diary warning her, or was it a test? And then the thought hit her like a thunderclap. If Sarah's enemies were still out there, who would be next? The town of Brookhollow awoke to another wave of shock. The morning fog had barely lifted when news spread that Thomas Grady, a former owner of Emma's house and a man long whispered about in Old Town gossip, had been found dead. His body was discovered in a small clearing near the edge of the forest, eerily calm, as if he had been waiting for someone to find him. The police cordoned off the area, but murmurs already filled the streets. Fear had become a living thing in the town, creeping into every corner. Emma sat on her bedroom floor, clutching the diary, her knuckles white. The pages had predicted 2 deaths already, the man by the lake and Officer Cole's disappearance, but this new one felt like a culmination,
a dark crescendo she could neither stop nor understand. She opened the diary, hoping for clarity, her breath coming in shallow bursts. As she turned the pages, she noticed something impossible. A fresh line had appeared, written in smooth ink that looked almost wet. "Justice is not finished yet." Her heart froze. She hadn't written it. Lucas hadn't been near the diary. No one had. And yet the words were there, as if the diary itself had grown conscious overnight. Determined to find answers, Emma and Lucas brought the diary to the police. At first, the officers were skeptical, dismissing it as a coincidence or a fabrication. But when Emma connected the past, the diary, Sarah Mitchell, Daniel Reeves, Daniel Grady, the skepticism faded. The lead detective, finally intrigued, promised to investigate the diary as evidence. Weeks of investigation revealed the truth buried for decades. Sarah Mitchell had been kidnapped years ago by a small group of men, including Daniel and Thomas. Officer Cole, who had disappeared for a time, had uncovered fragments of the truth and had been working secretly to reopen the cold case. But his disappearance had only deepened the mystery. Then the unthinkable happened. Emma met Sarah Mitchell in person, the woman who had vanished 22 years ago. Sarah's presence was calm, almost ethereal, yet a shadow of fear lingered in her eyes. She confirmed everything, the abductions, the deaths, the hidden crimes. But then she looked at Emma, puzzled. "Did you find my diary in the attic?" Sarah asked softly. Emma nodded, her voice trembling. Sarah smiled faintly. "I didn't write the last lines." Emma felt the room tilt around her. Fresh ink, predictions fulfilled. "If you didn't write them, then who did?" Emma whispered. And for the first time, she realized the diary might have another secret, one she hadn't yet begun to